We're about 5 weeks into full-time travel in our RV now, and so we jotted a few things down. We thought we would take a moment, sit down, and just talk about some of the stuff that surprised us, some of the good, some of the bad, some unexpected, things like that we've just ran into so far with traveling. If you are new here and this is your first video watching us, we are a family of 5. We sold everything, pretty much everything we own, and purchased a truck and a travel trailer, and we are just exploring the United States as a family.
Trying to see as many national parks as we can.
Yeah, so a little crazy, but that's it, basically. We did write some of these things down, so we might look down a little bit, but mostly we'll reference them, and then we just kind of want to chat about it a little bit. So some of the things that have surprised us so far. I know it's going to sound really funny, but I expected that I was going to have to do, what do they call them, like the Navy showers, where you have to like constantly turn the water off and everything like that. I have not ran out of hot water yet, and we don't have a tankless hot water heater. In fact, our hot water heater is 7 gallons, and so I've been super surprised. I have yet to run out of hot water, and now we do time our showers a little bit so that we're not like all 5 of us showering back to back, and you actually use the campground showers often.
Yeah, most of the time I just use the campground showers. We've been very lucky, I think, and had some really good experiences with the campgrounds and them being very clean. We're at state parks, so I think that kind of helps. And so there's kind of been a lot of New Mexico was great, Arizona's been great, so we've been really lucky. Yeah,
I thought that was going to be an issue. Thankfully, it has not yet been an issue. What's something that's been surprising to you?
I think that the thing that's been the most surprising to me is that we haven't ran out of propane yet. We have 2 tanks on the front of our rig, and they haven't run out yet. We only really use our propane for cooking. There's been a couple nights that we'll talk about in a little bit where we've had to kind of use our furnace, and so which runs on propane. But for the most part, I'm just really surprised that the propane has lasted as long as it has.
Yeah, we've actually been quite surprised with our fireplace that we've got over here. We've had some really cold nights, and when it's been really cold, we have needed to turn on the furnace just to take off some of the chill. But our fireplace has kept it really warm in here, and so that has really helped us to save on propane. So definitely, if we ever got another rig again, having an electric fireplace would be on the top of the list. Mandatory. Not just aesthetics, but because it has warmed this place really well.
It's kept us nice and warm. And along with that, another surprising thing is our goal, kind of with going southwest, was to be warm and
follow the good weather.
Chase the warm weather. Everyone goes to Arizona, right, or Florida because it's warm, and that's not been our
Texas wasn't bad. When we were in Waco, we had some really good temperatures.
Waco was great, but since then it's been pretty cold. I mean, I don't think it's been above 70 or 65.
No, well, let's just say we're now in Arizona, in southern Arizona, and the first morning we were here, it was a feels like temperature of 13 degrees.
13 degrees.
Not even just 30. 13 degrees. It was so cold. Insane. And we're like a half an hour north of the Mexico border. So we are like in South Arizona.
So we put sweatshirts on. We try to make the best of it, but
it's a little chilly.
It's just surprising.
But speaking of which then, so what has been our favorite place so far in this month, and what has been our least favorite place? I think we all can agree on our least favorite place.
Maybe.
You think?
Maybe.
So mine was when we stayed near Roswell.
Yeah, I would say, that's probably...
I mean, Hot Springs we were also not a huge fan of, but Roswell, and I don't know if it was really the campground or the Roswell area. I think part of it was we were like 3 weeks into full timing, and so that initial excitement was worn off a little bit, and it was just a weird, funky week, and I don't know. It may not have mattered where we were. That week may have just been an off week for us, but favorite week or favorite place.
Favorite place we've stayed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I would for sure. So even though we were only there for a short period of time, I would say City of Rocks in New Mexico. It was beautiful. The campground was amazing. There were some really cool things to see. Some beautiful trails. We did a hike that was amazing to the top of Table Mountain. The kids were, there was just a lot of activities to do for us as a family, playing catch, those kinds of things, and it was like kind of our weekend off.
And we were pretty unplugged.
Yeah. The
first 2 nights we were dry camping. I might go ahead and insert some footage here because I probably don't have enough for a full video. So I might insert some footage of when we were at City of Rock so you can see it. I actually really liked when we were at Leesburg Dam State Park, which is about a half hour or so north of Las Cruces. It's technically a Las Cruces address, but I liked it. I think it was nice, but it also was just a nice week. I feel like we started to get into a little bit of a groove, so that might have been part of it. So I feel like my favorite and my least favorite are a little bit more on if we were in a little bit of a funk or not, just getting into a routine. So it's hard for me to judge if it was like the location or if it was just a good week.
Yeah, and it was just interesting. I mean, the whole tongue jack situation happened at Leesburg from our previous video, and I think that if that would have happened at Roswell, it would have been a much more stressful situation.
We would have been like, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Which then kind of brings us to what has been an unexpected cost that we've encountered, and I would say that's the tongue jack.
The tongue jack, for
sure. And it really wasn't a huge cost. We're not talking like thousands of dollars. It was like $150, but it was something we weren't planning on, and it was just kind of one of those. It was also a little frustrating because we couldn't find one in person. We had to get it figured out how to get to us.
And you think there's all these RV places around in that area, and so I thought, it'd be easy to get, and it wasn't. They wanted $380 or $350 for the part that cost $120 on Amazon. Yeah. So luckily we were able to make arrangements to have it shipped somewhere and pick it up there. Super easy. It was good. Unexpected too, for sure. I would say for me the thing I've been most surprised by and unexpected was diesel. I think that I underestimated how much we would be using. Just because when we were in Tennessee, whenever we would pull, we would average 10 to 11 miles per gallon, sometimes 12. But I guess that also, even though we were going uphill a lot, we were also going downhill quite a bit.
I feel like we are just going uphill.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
For the most part, we're just going up. And so we've been averaging 7 to 9 miles per gallon. And so that's definitely an expense. Every time we pull in, it's $50, $60. And
but the weird thing too is there's such a fluctuation. We've gotten diesel for as low as like $2.50 and as high as like $3.50. So depending on where we are, sometimes it's not so bad, but other times when we were towing when it was windy, we got horrible gas mileage. So that was a little bit of an unexpected expenses. We're spending more on gas, diesel, whatever than we thought.
Yeah, we were towing into the wind. And going uphill. So
that was like
a
worst case scenario. So the hardest part so far, like whether it was expected or not, what about this lifestyle has been the hardest for you?
I think for me, it's been adjusting to being around all the time, to being around my family all the time. I feel terrible saying that. I feel like a terrible person for saying how it's difficult sometimes to be around my family all the time. But I'm coming from being gone so much, being gone, only home in the evening for the most part with my family. So to spend a couple hours or a few hours with my kids and play and do all the fun things before bed, get ready for bed, put them to bed, that kind of thing, to now being here for all the fights, all of the tantrums, all of the fits, all those things. And so it's been an adjustment for sure. It's
and you no longer have some of that time to yourself that you may not have realized, even just commuting to work or any of that stuff. Like we live in a 380 square foot travel trailer now. There's not a whole lot of places to go to be by yourself. There's just not. And so definitely an adjustment to being home. And then even for me though, with you being home, I mean it can cause frustrations for me because I'm used to things being a certain way or whatever. It does. I would say for me though, more so, it's that I feel like it's hard to get in any sort of routine. We can set some routines, but we are on the road moving often, and we try to stay places a week. It sometimes is that, sometimes it's not, but things are just always changing. So it's hard to have a routine.
Yeah.
So that's difficult, especially with just getting work done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult because you just feel out of routine, and when I'm out of a routine and I don't have that normal rhythm, it just throws me off. So it's
and
hard.
even with work though, for me the stress, and I think for you a little bit as well, is that you don't know what the next place is going to be like with internet. And
yeah,
so
we rely heavily on
it. We have to have a good signal for internet, and so because of that, then there's the stress of just not taking a day off. And so luckily with City of Rocks, we kind of built that in. We got that time to kind of just be together as a family and know that we weren't going to teach.
It's a little stressful because just because you have internet service at a place, we're using OTR, doesn't mean that it's a strong internet signal. And so you can use things like Campendium and everything where people have said that they have so many bars of service. But just because you have that many bars of service doesn't mean that it's a consistent connection like we need. We're doing some video conferencing stuff. So that can play some stress, and just figuring that out. We're talking about moving and everything like that. Our longest travel day so far and our shortest travel day so far has been 13 miles, and it was like under 20 minutes to get there. We were just moving from a Harvest Host to a campground, but funny enough, that move caused the biggest problem.
Oh yeah.
I think I have a picture of it. Our table got flipped over. It hit our refrigerator.
Dented the trash can. Dented the
trash can. It was like a whole big mess.
13 miles.
It was crazy, and it was like a straight flat road. I don't know what happened. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this was our shortest move. Literally 13 miles. Our table has never moved. I have no idea what happened. We didn't hit any big bumps or do anything. Oh my word. Alright, so apparently our shortest 13-mile move is going to cause the biggest issues.
Yeah, I don't understand how that works.
And then our longest travel day, I think, was when we left Waco. It was windy, remember?
Yeah.
That was our first day towing in the wind. And it was like a 2-lane road and really windy, so that took us a while. I think it was like 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
We tried to stay at 4 hours.
Yeah,
but
4 hours is good.
Yeah.
But that was a long day. We were going slow because of the wind, and it just was one of those things that we've learned that the Southwest just seems to generally be windy, and so having to make adjustments on the fly. We stayed an extra day at City of Rocks because they were saying 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and that was just not something that we were comfortable towing in or risking, for a trip. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the actual rig itself. So we do have a tour that I did. I really should probably do another one because I feel like it's changed quite a bit since I did that tour video. But we like the trailer. Yeah. I feel like it has a good layout. I already know that I want to upgrade to a fifth wheel. But I know we've only been in it for like 5 weeks now, on the road anyway. We were in it for a little longer before we actually launched, as we were getting ready. But it has nothing to do with this trailer itself. We like this trailer. If we're going to be in a travel trailer, I like this one. Like I said, we like it. I like the layout. I like what we've done with it so far. All of those things. There's nothing wrong with it. But first of all, it stresses me out completely for us to hitch up. I feel like it just takes us a while, and I don't know if we're still just getting into it and learning it. It just stresses me out. But then also, even just towing wise, I know they tow better. They're sturdier.
They're a little more sturdier. Also, some of the more basement storage. We don't really have any basement storage
there's really
in
no
it.
storage. I mean, there's a tiny little bit outside, but not much.
In the bottom part. So I like the travel trailer, and I have no idea. We could be in this for a long time or indefinitely, whatever. Yeah. But I already have a list of things that I would be looking for when we do get to upgrade to a fifth wheel. The problem with upgrading to a fifth wheel for us is we likely would need to also upgrade our truck. Yeah. Our truck doesn't have a high payload. We've talked about that before. Yeah. And so we would probably have to upgrade our truck first and then look for one. But
that's just that would be a big hurdle.
It would
to overcome. You're talking a new truck and a new trailer, and generally I'm not opposed to upgrading. I just know it would be very difficult. I think that it would be a big hurdle.
It would be a hurdle, I think, mostly because that we are solely self-employed now.
Mhm.
We no longer own a home, and so financing might be tricky.
Yeah.
Especially because we wouldn't like go with a high interest rate and stuff like
Right.
that. So I don't know.
Unless we come upon a large sum of money.
Yes, so if
somewhere.
you know where a large sum of money is,
Like,
let us know. So we have some more videos that we know we're going to be doing outside of like our travel adventure-y type of vlog stuff, like some must-haves that we've discovered. I wrote them down here. Things that we would have done differently, things like that. So we've got some more of those videos that'll eventually be coming. But if you have anything that you have questions about with full-time living, we are still rookies, we are still newbies, but we are starting to get into a little bit of a groove of it. Let us know. We're happy to answer them, either in an actual video or if you just shoot us a message like on Instagram or on our Facebook page or any of the social media places you can find us. We're happy to message back and let you know. But so thank you so much for joining us on this crazy adventure that we're on. We are so glad to have you here and just have you to share it with.
See you soon.
All right, bye.
See you soon. Oh, you messed it up.
We will see you soon. Nope. All right.